I'm Tom Baker, this is Chasing Cars and this is the new Toyota Yaris. And today's video should have been all about how this Yaris is a massive improvement on the old generation to drive and in the cabin, which it is. But because we now know that this new Yaris has taken a really big step up in price, that adds a whole new dimension to this review, doesn't it? Because now we need to check out whether or not this Yaris is worth at least $25,000 drive away, which is the price of this new 4th generation car. And this one, as you see it here, which is the ZR Hybrid, the very top spec of Yaris that you can get, is pushing $35,000 drive away. So it ain't easy for this car, and we're going to take a really critical eye in today's piece. But it starts on a high, because I reckon the looks are vastly improved. The old Yaris was really not a beautiful car in my opinion, but this one, you know, it really takes Toyota's best ideas about design and packaging and distills it into this little city car package. Love the bright Smurf blue, it looks really great with the two-tone paint, which is an option on the ZR. These 16-inch alloy wheels look cool. And of course you notice those hybrid badges on the flank, which indicate this car's extra power source. There's also been a substantial improvement in the cabin, as Toyota have brought the latest Yaris bang up to date with their other new generation vehicles. It looks more grown up, it looks more expensive, and the technology is significantly better than the old car. But is it up to the same standard as other competitors in this small or light car segment here in Australia? Well, we'll find out. First of all, we have a new touchscreen setup up here, which all Yarises have. So we have a 7-inch screen. It's not as big as the 8-inch unit in the Corolla or the RAV4, but it's still running the same software. Got the same hard keys up the sides, so you have quick access to your navigation, to audio options, or to Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, which this car does have through the single USB port that is available in this car. But the system works well, it's intuitive, and it's in a good position, so you're not having to look too far away from the road, which is great. Steering wheel is also really attractive. New wheel, this small little hub covering the airbag. It's about the right size, and it's leather wrapped in the two top models. It is worth keeping in mind that the base model not only runs on plastic hubcaps outside, but also has a plastic steering wheel inside. So you want to go for at least the mid-spec car, in my opinion. Beyond that, we have a mix of like LCD and digital gauges. You cannot get a full digital screen for the driver in this car, you know, something that could display a full map like you can in a Volkswagen Polo at this price. But the central screen, which is digital, can display your audio, your trip computer functions, your next navigation direction, and the LCD gauges themselves. They at least look cool and show you your fuel readout. And if you get the hybrid model, that fuel readout will be pleasingly low in the real world. And I'll explain about real world fuel consumption when we take this for a drive in a minute. That brings me onto the seats. So the ZR model has these pretty cool Y-pattern fabric seats. Lower grades also have fabric, but in a more kind of plain gray or black color. The seats in the ZR are sports seats, they tell us, and they do hold you in quite well in the corners. They're quite supportive, manually adjustable. Keep in mind the passenger seat does not have height adjustment, so if your passengers are really tall, well, you want to take them along to the dealership to test out this car with you. In terms of material quality, hard on the doors, but we do have kind of cloth inserts. But up here on the dash, it is soft. We get some red trim here on the ZR, kind of pops, looks good, and heaps of storage spaces. Tray up here, tray here, tray here, cup holders between the seats, and a box. But oh my God, 35 grand drive away and no armrest is totally inexcusable. Where's the covered storage? I can't see any apart from the glove box, and I just don't understand that, to be honest. But at least we have room for bottle holders in the doors. So that's the front seat of the Yaris, mostly good, some perplexing choices. Let's check out the second row. Okay, now that back door does open pretty wide, which is good. Isofix points are easily accessible, though they are hidden behind caps that you'll lose if you're planning to put baby seats back here. But let's face it, this is not really a family car, not here in Australia. But the room on offer in the second row is pretty good for adults if you do need to carry your friends every now and then. I'm sitting behind my own driving position, I'm 6 foot. Headroom, I've got enough. I've got about another inch. Legroom's fine, actually, and toe room's pretty good as well. Now, even though it does have 5 seat belts, I wouldn't want to carry 5 people in the Yaris, especially the hybrid, but you could if you really, really had to. But I think keep it to a maximum of 4 and everyone will continue to get along. Understandably, the materials on these doors are all hard, just like they are in a Polo, but we also don't have air vents in the back. So it really goes to show that the Yaris is mostly about those sitting up front, and really in this segment, that's cool, that's fine. At least the view out is decent, though from the driving seat, these large C-pillars are a little bit of a thing that impinges upon your view. All right, next up, check out boot space. Moving around the back of the new Yaris, I love the look. Really like this full length red strip here, love the black trim, and it does look best in this two-tone black color. But by the time you're in a ZR, the Yaris is getting expensive. Polo GTI territory, Fiesta ST territory. I mean, yeah. Look, the tailgate, that's easy to open and it reveals a surprisingly practical boot. Now, it doesn't look like much space as it is now, but this boot floor is actually a false floor. So you can set it up like this if you want to be able to move stuff straight in and out. You can put it down to the bottom floor if you need the most amount of room, and you'll be able to get a couple of suitcases in, and beneath that is a space saver spare. So you've basically got the trifecta. No shopping bag hooks though, so it could have been a tiny bit better. Very easy to close. We can jump into the driver's seat and see how this goes on road. So what's the new Yaris and Yaris Hybrid like to drive? Well, perhaps unsurprisingly, perhaps predictably, much like every other car that Toyota have moved to their new TNGA modular platform, the new Yaris is a huge improvement dynamically over the model that it replaces, which was really forgettable. This new version isn't forgettable, partially because of the price, but also, thankfully for Toyota, because of how good this little car is to drive. I reckon the new Yaris is, punching up into the leagues of the Volkswagen Polo in terms of just how well tuned and well balanced this small car is from behind the wheel. The problem though is that the engines don't quite match up to the European competition or to the likes of the Kia Picanto GT. Instead, the naturally aspirated 3-cylinder unit is, at least reasonably refined, but it's certainly not that torquey. So that means that you want the hybrid version, which, as we've mentioned, is quite expensive, definitely more expensive than most people expected that it would be. So then it becomes, do you want to spend the same sort of money as a very nice Polo, even a Polo GTI or a Fiesta ST on a Toyota Yaris, and not even the GR Yaris, but just a standard hybrid? And I think for a lot of people, the answer to that will be no. So it'll be interesting to see what happens in terms of the price of the Yaris in future and whether it attracts the same amount of customers as it always has. You can let me know what you think down below. But really, this car is all about this environment that I'm in now, city traffic, and it's very good at it, partially because the ride is excellent. The damping is a standout. I think it's more comfortable than the Volkswagen Polo. We don't get the regular Fiesta range here, but it's certainly more comfortable than even smaller vehicles like the Kia Picanto, in my opinion. However, it's also in this kind of driving that the Yaris and Yaris Hybrid deliver good fuel economy. Even this standard petrol version, you'll easily get into the mid-5s without trying. Whereas the hybrid, Toyota claimed 3.3, and I was able to match that, and I'm really not a good economical driver. I like to kind of dive into gaps in traffic and really use that extra torque of the hybrid motor. But I got 3.3, and then after kind of letting my guard down a little bit more throughout the week, that figure only went up to 3.6, which is still exceptional. And it really makes you question whether or not you even need something like a plug-in hybrid if a standard series parallel hybrid like the Yaris can do so well in the real world. Then there's the steering, which is so much less vague than before. There's now a feel to it. The ratio is good, direct. It's not too light, not too heavy, mid-weighted, and well connected to the front wheels. While the handling is sorted, it's not too flat. There is a little bit of roll helping out the tires, but nothing too extreme. And of course, the inclusion of all those safety features is very impressive. So those are my detailed first impressions of the 2021 Toyota Yaris. It's beyond doubt that Toyota have poured a huge amount of resourcing into the new generation of the Yaris. The hybrid system, like in other Toyotas, actually works to deliver best in segment, in fact best in industry, combustion fuel economy in this vehicle. It barely drinks any petrol, but that, combined with the safety technology aboard in this vehicle, which is genuinely impressive, will cost you a lot. So it's really about whether you want quite a premium small hatchback at this price in the form of like a Volkswagen Polo GTI, or you want a loaded Yaris Hybrid? Let me know what you do down below in the comments. While you're there, I encourage you to hit subscribe and the notification bell, and as always, thank you for watching Chasing Cars.